Burgers are definitely a classic. Everyone loves a good, juicy, delicious burger. Well, okay, not the vegetarians, but you know what? That's why today is their day, but it's also gonna be your day if you like a burger because it is a squash quinoa burger day. I know it sounds a little odd, but I love to switch it up sometimes. I'm not necessarily vegetarian, but I do love to not have meat all the time. And these burgers are absolutely delicious and they use the bounty of the season because I have a lot of squash. If you grow squash, you usually have a lot, but I'm so thankful and I love to use it. This burger is definitely not a meat burger, but I also don't like to try to replicate food if you are trying to leave something out. It is definitely different, but it is good. It has great texture. You get some of those squash flavors and some different spices, and the quinoa really adds a great kick. So this is one of my favorite ways to enjoy something in a little bit new way, and I cannot wait for you to try it. To start, you just want to cook your quinoa. In a small kettle, combine your quinoa and your water. Place it on the stove and bring it to a boil. Once boiling, turn it down to a simmer, keep it covered until it is cooked through. After about 15 minutes, remove the lid, flake it with a fork or a spoon just to ensure it's cooked, and then if there's a lot of moisture, cook it a little bit longer or just pull it off and let it cool. I really like to add some toasted nuts when I make a meatless burger. They really add great flavor and some great texture. To prepare the walnuts, just put them in an even layer on a small skillet. Put them over medium heat. You do need to watch them a little bit closer so they don't burn on one side. So just shake them every so often, making sure they're evenly toasting. Once they're toasted, remove them from the heat and then put them into a bowl to cool. Once they're cooled, put them right into a little food processor and grind them until they're fairly fine. You don't want big chunks of nuts, you just really want them to add some great flavor and texture. When you're making a burger without meat, you're kind of taking a lot of the flavor out of it. So you want to add a lot of flavor. And to do that, we're going to start by sauteing some onion. I like to dice it really small so it almost just melts away. Once the onion is diced, add some olive oil to a skillet, swirl it around to evenly coat, and heat it up over medium-high heat. Add the onion. To the onion, add some salt and some pepper. Salt really helps the onion bring out its moisture and saute a little bit quicker. After the onion is softened and translucent, meaning it's not browned or burned, you can add some really finely chopped cremini mushrooms. I like to chop my mushrooms kind of roughly before and then put them right into a food processor to finely chop them. The mushrooms are gonna add umami, or a really deep flavor that really almost gives a meatiness to it. Mushrooms really cook down. You are not gonna notice they're in there, so if you don't like mushrooms, please do not worry, just give these a chance. Saute them until the water from the mushrooms actually comes out, so you're gonna notice a lot more liquid in the pan, but then cook all of that off. You're gonna be left with a really dry onion and mushroom mixture. To that, you wanna add your spices, because I like to cook the spices in a little bit of the oil first to really bring out their flavor. Add in cumin. Let that saute for a few more seconds just to really bloom that cumin. And then add some soy sauce. Again, this is just gonna add a really deep flavor. It is not to taste the soy sauce. Stir that in, let it saute for a few minutes and cook out, and then pull the skillet off the stove and let it cool a little bit. Everyone cooks squash, I think, in their own way. I think the easiest way is just to have it down the middle, scoop out the seeds. I do save them because I like to roast them. And then put it face down onto a baking sheet. Put it into a preheated oven, let it cook off until it is very tender, and then remove it from the oven. If you have a different way of doing it, do it whatever way works for you. To assemble the burger, just have the prepared squash in a large bowl ready to go. And then I dump my mushroom and onion mixture right on top of that, my cooked quinoa, the prepared toasted nuts that we had set aside, some flax meal. This is really gonna help bind the burger together. And finally, add an egg. An egg is really gonna give that final binding this mixture needs. Stir this all together until it's really well combined. I know it probably looks a little gross or off-putting, but it really is delicious and has some great flavor. And then you can just make your burgers. In a nonstick skillet, heat a little bit of oil over medium-high heat, and then you can just scoop your burgers right into it. I like to scoop them, put them right into that skillet, and then press them down with the back of my spatula and maybe some parchment paper if you need to, if you think it sticks too much. But if not, just press them down with your spatula. Let them cook a few minutes on each side. They'll turn nice and brown and get a little bit of a crust on them. Flip them over, let the same thing happen, and then pull them off. I like to serve these with a really quick Chipotle Aioli. Now, if you don't want to make your own, just take some mayonnaise, take some ground Chipotle pepper, and mix it together. But I like to go the extra mile and make my own. I know, it's annoying, but I do. In a small food processor, put 3 egg yolks, a little bit of Dijon mustard, some salt, and lemon juice. Pulse that together till it's well combined. With the food processor running, slowly add in vegetable oil. After it starts to thicken up, you can take it off, scrape the sides, and check the desired thickness. If you want a little bit thicker, add a little bit more oil. Once it's at the correct consistency, you can add your Chipotle pepper. Grind that in, and then it's ready to go. I love to serve these with some lettuce, a great bun, and a lot of that aioli because I love it. These are delicious and a great alternative to meat. Not that you have to have an alternative, but they are just delicious on their own too. I cannot wait for you guys to try these. They are the perfect fall treat to use some of that great squash in. If you agree and like this video, you know what to do. Click like, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram. I love to hear from you and know how you're enjoying this fall season. Happy fall!